Hello, we're here talking about the Negro President. We have a few more readings from this book. I'm already thinking of the next book. Um, I'm going to get into my little metaphysics, maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll see for the 15th um, or for the second half of the month. So, we're talking about dealing with the black vote. So, let's continue because the black vote was important then, it's important now. Joe Biden's picked his vice presidential candidate. She's a woman of color, but she's not progressive. She's basically a cop in the worst way. Um, Kamala Harris. So, and there's an argument, debate in the black community: should we vote for someone who locks up black people, even if they're black? And so you're going to see that happen. And then we'll see if Biden made a mistake or not. I think so, but we'll see. Pennsylvania Republicans wanted to adopt a general ticket system. But Federalists, who controlled the upper house and wanted to retain the district vote, refused to pass the legislation it required to set procedures at each election. This deadlock promised to leave the state without votes, as had happened to New York in 1789, the first election for president. The deadlock was not broken until the last minute in December by a compromise that denied the Republicans their former statewide ticket. Each house has allowed to put up or was allowed to put up 8 candidates from which a vote of both chambers picked the required 15. This gave Republicans only a slight edge, 8 of the 15 instead of the 14-1 vote in 1796. Excuse me. So Jefferson knew how much depended on Burr's success in New York. As he wrote to Madison, if Pennsylvania does not vote or does not vote solidly Republican, then New York determines the election. Burr's task was a difficult one. Federalists under Hamilton's guidance had won all the previous year's elections in New York City. This time Burr would have to take them all if he meant to shift decisively the balance in the legislature. Hamilton did not realize that Burr had identified a crucial factor in the coming race. The state assembly had recently been moved from New York City to Albany, and many of the Federalist Manhattan lawyers and merchants were unwilling, to give up their interests for 3 months of rustication upstate. This made it difficult for Hamilton to fill his party slate with eminent men. He assumed that Burr would have the same problem, and he settled for candidates that Burr's friend, Matthew Davis, mocked as 2 grocers, a ship chandler, a baker, a potter, a bookseller, a mason, and a shoemaker. Burr capitalized on this situation with a threefold strategy. First, he removed his own candidacy from the city, running instead from Orange County. He did not want his presence on the ticket to be a distraction or a deterrent, since he meant to woo his old patron rival, Governor Clinton, out of retirement to head the city ticket. He wanted no disputed leadership in the city delegation. Second, Burr calculated that if he got Clinton to run, other prominent men would join him, despite their initial refusals. These included Horatio Gates, the hero of Saratoga, and Robert Livingston, signer of the Declaration of Independence. They headed a distinguished ticket. Third, Burr kept his own slate a secret until belatedly Hamilton published the only names he had been able to come up with. Once that occurred, on April 15, Burr called a public meeting for April 17 to unveil his candidates. Too late for Hamilton to replace his non-entities with worthier choices. Frustrated as Hamilton was by these maneuvers, he did not give up. During the 3 days of voting in the city, he took to the streets, haranguing voters at the polling place, while Burr did the same thing, and Hamilton could not equal the efficiency of Burr's operation. The Burr home had been turned into a communication headquarters from which young volunteers went out to campaign door to door. German-speaking emissaries to the German neighborhoods. They brought back dispatches catching sleep on mattresses spread over the floor, bolting food kept ready on the tables. On the last day, Burr himself spent 10 hours at a polling place where Federalist cheating was anticipated. The result was a clean sweep for Burr's men. All 12 would travel to Albany, where they could provide the margin for a majority vote in the legislature, one giving all New York's votes to the Republicans. So here you see campaign maneuvers, Politics by Aaron Burr. That ridiculous play paints Burr as just this guy drifting and not really doing much and taking advantage. But that's not true, as you can see. It's good to have real information from good sources. Until next time, I want to thank you for supporting me, and I want to say take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.